Hey everybody, I'm Mama Baird and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a delicious smothered burrito recipe for you. Now this is one that I used my crock pot to cook the meat. One of my favorite things to do is to use the crock pot to cook your protein and then use that protein in another dish. It saves you a lot of time and you don't have to stand there over the stove cooking, which is something that I don't mind doing, but every now and then it's nice just to throw something in the crock pot. So here I'm making two different proteins for the smothered burritos to kind of switch it up. I prefer chicken, my husband likes beef, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of both. And it's always a good idea to make some extra and put it in the freezer so you have a freezer meal ready to go if you need it. Hi, if you're new to my channel, my name is Carolina and I live in Montana. I do a lot of different food bank hauls, pantry cooking, and canning and preserving on my channel. If that's the kind of content you're into, I hope you consider subscribing. Come join my family. We're a lot of fun. All right guys, let's get into it and I'll show you how to make some delicious smothered burritos. All right guys, for tonight's dinner, I'm going to be cooking up some chicken breast. This is 3.2 pounds of it, and it's just 3 big chicken breasts. I'm gonna put them in my crock pot, and we're gonna make taco chicken, and then we're going to put them in some big tortillas and make some smothered chicken burritos is kind of my goal with this. So I'm gonna get these 3 big pieces of chicken in here. Just laying flat on the bottom. Alright, and then in here I have half a jar of salsa verde left over. So I'm going to dump that on top just to get that used up. I don't know if I really like salsa verde as a dip. I made it to try it like that, and I don't know, it's just not quite the same as enchilada sauce, I guess. It's good, but just not. To me, I want to just eat it straight up, you know. Alright, so we got that in there. I have a little bit of brine left over from my cowboy candy I made last year. And it's just kind of like spicy and sweet, so I'm going to pour some of that in there. I'm just going to do all of it, just to get that used up and out of my fridge. And then I do have a little bit of regular medium salsa. I'm gonna pour just a little bit of that. Since I have the verde and the cowboy candy, you don't need it too much. You could just do regular salsa if you want. That's a lot of ways to do this. And then I just got some taco seasoning here. I'm gonna sprinkle over. And then that's it. Just kind of move this around. And then this will cook in its own juices and make some delicious shredded chicken. Since I don't need it till tonight, I'm gonna put it on a low and we're gonna let that go for like 6 to 8 hours. All right, we're gonna check our chicken here. All right, these should, oh yeah, just shred apart. I'm sorry for that squeaking noise I just made, for anybody who hates that noise. It's not my intention. So that's it. You can even do this with frozen chicken breast, guys. If you forget to take your meat out, you just do it from frozen. It'll work just as well. Alright. So that gets turned off. Look at that chicken, guys. It looks great. I'm gonna give it a taste. Wow, that tastes great. Yep, tastes good. So we're just gonna let this cool down a bit. I had a little bit of extra chicken taco meat left over, more than I'm going to need for my burritos, because I am going to be doing half chicken, half beef. You will see the beef in the next clip here. But that's one of the ways that I like to save myself some extra time, is to make an excess amount of protein and then either can it or freeze it and put it on my shelf. And that's one thing that I love about this vacuum sealer and having a pressure cooker, is to be able to give myself that option. So that way this meat can last for a long time in my freezer, and I save myself the trouble by already having it cooked, seasoned, and prepped. I always like to give my vacuum seal a good tug just to make sure that it is in fact sealed, and that one did really good. I used my wet option on my vacuum sealer, and that helped keep the juice from getting sucked out and having a bad seal. And always make sure you label your food really good, guys. Say what it is and what month you put it in there. Because trust me, you will not remember, and the next thing you know, you'll have a pack of mystery meat in your freezer that you're going to have to try and figure out what to do with. So that's going in the freezer. All right, for dinner, I'm going to be making this chuck roast. Let's see, this was a blade pot roast. It's 3.5 pounds. I'm going to be turning this into kind of like a Mississippi pot roast kind of deal. Only difference is that I am going to take the time to sear this, and then I do have a couple of seasonings that I'm trying to use up, so I'm just going to use these ones. This has turmeric in it, so it's going to give it a good color. And then this is kind of like a mushroom, dried mushroom one. And then I'm also going to hit it with some kosher salt. My pan is very hot. I'm going to put a slab of bacon grease in there. It's probably about a tablespoon. I'm going to season the other side. The reason you would want to sear this is because it helps seal in that moisture. Plus it has brown part of the meat, which adds a really in-depth flavor. So it really helps if you take the time to sear this. Now you don't have to if you're short on time. But like I said, I highly recommend it. We're just going to probably give this maybe 4 minutes and then we'll flip it. All right, it's been a couple of minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and flip this. Oh yeah, look at that beautiful color. That's exactly the browning you want to see right there. So we're going to do the other side for 4 more minutes and then we'll get it in the crock pot. Alright, so we got our beef in there, and then the other things I'm going to add is a pack of this au jus gravy mix, a pack of this Italian salad dressing, the dry one, and then I have a stick of butter. Here's some pickled jalapenos I need to use. I have half of a jelly jar, so I'm going to use those. And then I have some of these sweet cherry peppers. I'm going to use that instead of the pepperoncinis that usually go in here, because that's what I have on hand. What do you guys do when you make this? I know a lot of people make this. And you can turn this into sandwiches. You can eat it with just mashed potatoes and gravy. I'm just going to put everything on top of the meat here. 1 stick of butter. I like to have that kind of right in the middle. And then I'm just going to add all this with the juice and the seeds and everything. Let's see, I added just a little bit of that juice. And then we'll add a couple of these cherry peppers too, which are really sweet. I'm going to take that stem out. Then I'm going to put the lid on it, and I'm going to cook this on high because I have it a little later to the day. And then we'll be back later to check it. This has been going for 6 hours at high, so I turned it off. It's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to let this cool down, and then we'll bring that meat out. Alright, so this is cooled down. Let's get this out. I'm going to scrape these into the broth here. And I'm just going to store this. I like to cook roast to use for another purpose. We don't usually eat the roast as is. I like to use the meat for something else, but I am going to give this one a try. I'm also going to let it cool down more before I put the lid on it. I'm going to give this beef a try. Oh yeah. Wow. It's definitely got a little bit of heat to it. Should have not have poured that pickled jalapeno brine in there. But that's okay. Oh, that's so good. Alright. Shoot. I might actually have it for dinner. I know sometimes when I make roast, they just always seem to be a little too dry. So I really like this technique, and I like using the butter in there, and having that vinegar really helps break down like the toughness of the meat. So having that pickled vinegar juice in there, it's really good. All right, if I can quit eating it, then I'm going to put it away, and we're going to utilize this for dinner tomorrow. Oh, I'm also going to save those juices. I'm going to strain it and then put it in a mason jar, and we'll turn that into a gravy or something for tomorrow. I just want to show you guys, I went ahead and shredded all that beef, so this is what it looks like. So we can go ahead and stretch that into a couple of meals. I get a little bit under 2 cups worth of juices that we're going to turn into a gravy or something. So we're just going in the fridge with that. Hey everybody, here is my setup for dinner. I'm going to be using some of these big wraps. If I need more, I have more in the fridge. And I just heated these up for like 30 seconds to get them pliable and usable. And then here is my pot roast meat, and then the shredded chicken meat. You just saw how I did those. And then I have a bag of cheese I'm going to use, 2 cans of refried beans, some enchilada sauce, and some roasted salsa verde. So this is good. I'm getting 4 cans of stuff out of my pantry. That always feels good to get stuff out. So first thing I'm going to do though is mix up this refried beans, because I'm going to add some seasoning to it. Oh, I might not have needed 2 cans. Let's just do 1 can. So I'm going to add some cumin. And the meat, I just heated up a little bit. It's probably like a teaspoon of cumin. Just a little bit to get it movable and get the fat melted. A little bit of salt. And some garlic powder. I'm gonna put beans down. I'm gonna leave a little bit on the end for rolling and folding. Add some cheese. And then I'm gonna put just a little bit of red enchilada sauce inside of it, and then I'm gonna pour the salsa on top. So fold in the edges. ended up with 4 of the big ones. I got 2 beef and 2 chicken. And then I have extra meat. I'm just gonna make some extra for the fridge. I mean, I'll make extra for the freezer. Husband. Sorry, I got distracted looking at my Facebook. No. Okay, so I'm just gonna pour this verde salsa over it. Make like, oh, that looks good. Just, you know, I am making something different for the kids tonight. This is something, I'm not talking to you. Husband thought I was talking to him. It's like I talk to him a lot or something. So anyway, I'm gonna be making something a little different for the kids because this is kind of a lot of flavor and lots of salsa. I'll let them try it. Betty Jan was sitting here eating all the meat, so she likes the meat. But this might be a little much, but we'll try it. Now I'm gonna throw this in the oven and bake this at 350. Let's do 30 minutes and then we'll check it. You guys wonder what I'm gonna make for the kids. I got 3 little regular sized tortillas. I'm gonna put some of the beans down on one side. Some of the meat here, and I'm just gonna make like a little quesadilla for them. So that way they can eat right now. And it's not gonna be spicy or anything for them. So beef and cheese quesadillas. And I'm gonna fold it like that. And then I'm gonna heat them up that way. And then they each get their own. Yeah. Here's the quesadilla. And that's what they're getting. Alright guys, so I got 4 extra ones here. I had to break out the green spinach tortillas. I had some extra ones there. I'm just going to try and get as much air out as possible. And then we are going to put this in the freezer and use these another time. Then I have a little bit of meat left. I'll save this and use this for lunch tomorrow for the kids. These came out of the oven. I did have a little bit of red enchilada sauce, so I just poured it over. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can get this on the plate. I'm gonna cut into it so you guys can see it. Oh yeah. Grab a spoon, Betty Jam. She's gonna put some sour cream on it.
Sour cream. Like you be in the video?
No, she said put some sour cream on it. Big flop. There you go. Just kind of like, watch out. Okay, how about this? Here we go. All right, one more for this side.
I was about to spread it out.
That's fine.
I can make it?
No, I meant like for... Okay, and then we'll get more for Mama. Oh yeah.
Can I make this?
Yep. And that's what's for dinner tonight, guys. Look at that. Oh my gosh, guys, those burritos were so good. Like, I'm pretty sure that is the most I've gotten complimented by my husband in a long time for my food. Like, he's always like, oh yeah, your food's good. I think he's kind of like used to my cooking now. But with those, every single bite, he was like, baby, this is so good. He gave me a little bit of extra snuggles that night. He came over on the couch, was snuggling me, was like, oh, that dinner was so good. I was like, man, you know, since dinner was so good, there's some dishes in the sink, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad he enjoyed it. It's always nice to make a meal and your spouse is super appreciative and everybody just loves it. It makes you feel good. They're like, oh, they like my cooking. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope you give it a try. That salsa verde was delicious. Like, I definitely need to try that again. I'm not really one on just eating the salsa verde. I don't seem to like it as like a dip. But it's super good mixed in with dishes. Thank you for coming in the kitchen and cooking with me. Make sure you like this video, and I'll catch you next time on Mama Baird's.